What do you think the music creators can do to change the trajectory?
What we can do to change is we're very technology dependent. So a lot of today's producers, we can take, Mike Will for instance, or a lot of the guys, because we're so technology dependent, it takes 8 of them to be Pharrell. It takes 8 of them to be Jermaine Dupri. It takes 8 of them to be Swiss Beats. It takes 8 of them to be Timberland or Dr. Dre. And it's not because they're not talented, it's because we're technology dependent. In the sampling era, let's go back to music, right? Instrumentation is the best form of marketing in the world when it comes to music. So in the 60s and 70s, in the Motown era, they were making music with instruments, doing things. That transformed into the 80s and 90s when drum machines came out. You had LA and Babyface and Jammin' Lewis. Those guys were using technology, but they were in bands. They played instruments. LA's a drummer. Babyface played keyboard, guitar. So they still had the element of music. Fast forward to the 90s, when Diddy came out and sampled, and a lot of and music was sample driven. Those guys went back and sampled instrumentation, instruments and music. So the instrumentation has always been in music all the way up till now. Now most urban records are void of any musical instrumentation. There are no guitars, there are no bass guitars, there are no pianos, flutes, strings, none of that stuff. It's gone. That's because we're in the laptop. Everybody's on Fruity Loops. And the problem with that is everybody's using the same VSTs, the same drum sounds, the same synth sounds. So you get the same music. So that's why one of them is really doing virtually, what 8 of them all can do to have the success of one person. What made the sample era and those producers that came from that area, the Dr. Dre's, Timberlands, Pharrell's, all of them is, they would dig into crates and find those sounds that gave them a signature and separated them from everybody else. So then they had their own lane and their own space to create and compete. And most people, by the time, they couldn't catch up with them or even had the ability to, because equipment costs more. MP was $4,000 back then. So if you're doing music, you had to really bust your ass to go to the job. I'm gonna save up, I'm gonna get this MP, I'm gonna get this ASR 10 and really learn how to do this kind of music. So now, programs are cheap, still all kinds of VSTs, and everybody's using the same drum sounds, so you're getting virtually the same tracks over and over and over again. So when you do that, and then Pharrell comes out with Happy, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Or John Legend does All of Me. It's just out there. It's so different. It's so different from what's being done now. It's like, it shines through like crazy. That's one of the reasons, even like this stuff I was saying with my dad, it's like a lot of this music, these instrumentals that I'm just hearing for the first time. In urban music, they would stick out like a sore thumb. Even if it's a sample that Kanye and Jay-Z take, it's gonna stick out. Because it's instrumentation, it's organic, it's imperfect. There's something about the sound of a band or a bass guitar or a drummer, the imperfection that still has an organic component that connects to you better because it's human. It's in human hands. When you hear digital music, when you hear EDM music, you don't necessarily connect with the music in the way that you do organically with instrumentation. The way that I think and the way that I view and listen to music is always from a marketing perspective. So I feel like I have the best chance to market my music using instruments than I do VSTs more than anything. And if I do, or if I can incorporate those sounds, you can take Calvin Harris, you can take David Guetta, even if they do EDM records, they still incorporate instrumentation. Even if it's a guitar line that they sample and flip, it's still organic in nature, so it bonds and connects with you a lot better than it does when it's just straight up trap drums, whole bunch of kicks and snares perfectly lined up, and it's not the same. It doesn't have the same feel or the same element.